hammered the roof of the Chevy like someone trying to break in. Alex Rivera gripped the wheel, eyes on the smeared red and blue glow of Bayport's waterfront. 38 years old, shoulders still wide from Navy days and dockyard shifts. He carried the quiet weight of a man who'd learned that most victories don't come with applause. In the passenger seat, Mia, ate all elbows and restless energy, colored furiously on her sketchpad. "Think she'll hang it up?" she asked, holding the drawing so the dashboard light caught the bright marker streaks. A stick figure, Alex rode a wave taller than a building, arms out like he could hold back the ocean itself. "She'll love it," he said, ruffling her damp curls. "Miss Torres sees things other people miss." Isabella Torres didn't just see things, she built empires out of what other people missed. Torres Dynamics occupied 3 glass towers that overlooked the harbor like sentinels. 2 years earlier, during a late October nor'easter, Alex had towed her disabled catamaran out of breaking surf while she stood on the foredeck in expensive foul-weather gear, shouting orders into a satellite phone. When he refused her check afterward, she'd studied him the way someone studies a puzzle that refuses to be solved. Tonight was the harbor gala. Black tie money, champagne, and the kind of small talk that cost more per word than most people made in an hour. Alex wore his best dark jacket, the one with the frayed cuff he'd never bothered to replace, and carried Mia's drawing rolled in his hand like a battle standard. They were barely through the doors when Raul spotted them. "Alex, you actually came." His older brother's smile was polite, practiced, the same one he used on clients. "Mia's getting tall. Sophia brought an extra wrap if she gets cold." "I'm good," Alex said. "We're good." Raul's eyes flicked to the worn boots, the lack of cufflinks, the way Mia clung to her father's hand instead of disappearing into the crowd of polished children. The old resentment simmered beneath the surface. The younger brother who'd once outrun, outlifted, outlasted everyone, only to choose caulk guns and overtime over boardrooms. Isabella found them near the silent auction tables. Emerald dress, hair swept up, she moved through the room like she owned the air around her, which in many ways she did. When Mia thrust the drawing forward, Isabella knelt without hesitation. "This is incredible," she said, voice soft enough that only the 3 of them could hear. "He looks exactly like a guardian should." Mia beamed. Alex felt the familiar tightening in his chest, the part of him that still braced for loss every time someone got too close. Later, at the edge of the dance floor, Isabella found him again. "You could have taken the money that day," she said. "Most people would have. Most people don't need to prove anything to themselves at 4 in the morning in 30-foot seas." She studied him for a long moment. "You don't like being thanked, do you?" "I don't mind being thanked, I just don't need it framed and hung on a wall." A small smile. "Noted." The trouble started during the live auction. A young engineer, nervous, badly tailored suit, presented a portable desalination unit designed for drought-stricken coastal villages. The room turned cruel fast. Snickers became laughter, became open jeering. "Garage project," someone called. "Stick to 3D printing keychains." Mia's hand tightened on Alex's. "They're being mean." He felt the old reflex rise, walk away, keep the peace, protect the life he'd built. But the engineer's face, red, eyes down, looked too much like the kid who'd been pulled from a burning hello 17 years ago and still haunted Alex's sleep sometimes. He stepped forward before he could talk himself out of it. "Enough," he said, not loud, just clear enough that the laughter died in ripples. Heads turned. A laborer in a $500 jacket telling a room full of millionaires to behave. The engineer looked up, startled. Alex kept his voice steady. "The man's showing you something that could save lives. If you can't respect the work, at least respect the intent." Silence stretched, then a few uncomfortable coughs. Isabella stood frozen near the podium, her merger with 2 of the loudest hecklers hanging in the balance. One of the men muttered something about bleeding heart dock workers and walked out. 2 others followed. The engineer exhaled like he'd been holding his breath for years. Isabella didn't speak to Alex again until the room had thinned and the string quartet was packing up. "You just cost me a 9-figure partnership," she said. "I know," she looked at him, really looked, "and you'd do it again." "Yeah," she let out a short, surprised laugh. "You're impossible." "Maybe." Mia tugged his sleeve. "Can we go home now? My feet hurt." Isabella glanced at the drawing still clutched in her hand. "I'm keeping this," she told Mia. Then to Alex, "Dinner next week, no gala, no suits, just us." He hesitated. "I don't do fancy." "I know," she said. "That's why I asked." The letter arrived 3 weeks later, a plain envelope, postmark faded, forwarded from an old APO address. Inside, his own handwriting, dated March 15, 2013. A confession he'd written in the dark of a forward operating base and never sent. He read it sitting on the tailgate of the truck while Mia practiced cartwheels in the driveway. I don't know if this reaches you. I keep seeing the third guy slip out of the harness. I keep hearing the fire. If I make it back, I'm not going to chase medals. I'm going to be there. Breakfast, bedtime stories. Fixing the porch step before it breaks. Tell Mia I love her. Tell her I'm coming home. Tell you I'm still breathing because of promises I made to us. A smaller item slipped out, his late wife's locket. The one Isabella had quietly bid on at a veteran's benefit years earlier and later returned to him after recognizing the initials inside, her father's. A man lost on the same night, same fire, different report. When Isabella came for dinner, jeans, boots, no makeup, she listened while he read the letter aloud. She didn't interrupt. When he finished, she reached across the table and turned the locket over in her palm. My father never talked about that deployment, she said. He just never came home. I spent years trying to outrun the silence he left. Alex nodded. I spent years trying to outlast mine. They sat with that for a while. I'm not good at asking for things, she said finally, but I'm asking you to keep showing up, not as a hero, just you. He met her eyes. I can do that. Raoul called the next day, no preamble. Sophia cried when she heard what happened at the gala. Said she'd spent years thinking you were just stubborn. Turns out we were the ones who didn't see clearly. Alex didn't know what to say to that, so he didn't say anything. We'd like to come by Sunday, Raoul went on. If that's okay, bring Mia something ridiculous. Sophia's baking. Bring whatever you want, Alex said. Just don't expect me to wear a tie. Months passed. Not in sweeping montages, but in ordinary days. Isabella learning to splice line, swearing at stripped bolts. Mia teaching her how to draw waves that actually moved. Raoul showing up with tools he didn't know how to use and staying anyway. One late summer evening, they took the small cruiser out past the breakwater. No plan, just the three of them and a cooler of sandwiches. Mia fell asleep between them on the bench seat, head on Alex's thigh, feet in Isabella's lap. Isabella looked at him over the sleeping girl. I used to think power was about winning, she said quietly. Now I think it's about choosing who you stand beside when everything else falls apart. He brushed a strand of hair from Mia's cheek. I think it's about showing up even when no one's watching. She reached across and laced her fingers through his. Then we're both getting better at it. Later, when the sky turned the color of tarnished silver, she slipped something into his palm. The locket remade into a simple band. No diamonds, just steel and memory. Thought you might want to carry both of us, she said. He turned it over, felt the weight of it. Ask me properly, he said. She laughed, soft and sure. Marry me, Alex Rivera, not because I need saving. Because I want to build something real with you. He slid the ring onto her finger. It fit like it had always been there. Mia stirred, blinked up at them. Are you getting married now? Eventually, Isabella said. Cool, Mia mumbled, already drifting again. Can I have a boat instead of flowers? They both laughed, quiet, private, the sound swallowed by the water. The harbor lights came on one by one. Engines coughed somewhere in the distance. A foghorn answered from the point. Alex pulled them both closer. No speeches, no grand gestures, just the three of them riding the gentle roll of the tide, anchored in the life they'd chosen together.